editorial decisions there?
It's probably a little bit of everything what you just said. I think when it comes to technology, certainly we're all still, and I'm just speaking in a very broad sense, not just what we do at Channel 9, but I think industry-wide, we're all still trying to get our arms around new technology. And to an awful lot of us, things like, for instance, things like broadcasting a signal without the need for a live truck, the use of social media are still things that are still new to us as an industry. And it's funny because on all of the, I shouldn't say all, but on many of the industry blogs that are out there, you see, to this day, you still see an awful lot of articles about how people are still teaching journalists how to effectively use social media or how to effectively use new technology that's out there. So as I say, I think we're still getting our arms around it. In terms of editorial decisions, until I think as an industry we get comfortable with what it is we're trying to do, I think probably some of the old rules still apply when it comes to what we put on the air and what we don't. But in a breaking news situation, when we're in continuous coverage, say there's something going on, on the KU campus in Lawrence, for instance, and so you have an awful lot of young people with cell phones, and they're sending you pictures of whatever that event is. I think as journalists, we have to be extremely careful about what we put on the air and what we don't, and making sure as best we can that the information we put on the air is as good as we can. That, despite all the social media and all the technology, that doesn't change. But it's something that we have to be even more careful of, just because, again, to so many of us, this is still new territory.
We got another question for you. I'm not sure if you can answer it or not, but it's having to do with advertising.
Sure.
One of the questions is from a news media perspective of being objective and things like that. How do you balance taking care of your advertisers on your Facebook and social media channels as you would on your website or any other medium that you're advertising?
Well, there's still a fairly significant firewall between the news operation and our friends up in sales upstairs, and that extends to all of our social media platforms as well. I think part of why advertisers buy us is because we deliver a larger audience than the other guys. And I think the reason we deliver a larger audience than the other guys is because of what we do, is because of the product that we put out, because people trust us, because people, if the ratings are any indication, seem to have a very strong sense in our objectivity. And that's something that we don't mess with on any level.
As a follow-up question to that, last week on the Daily Show, Jon Stewart talked about the use of the question mark creeping into news headlines. And as we try to engage our Facebook page and ask, for instance, corporations lays off 10,000 people. Do you think it's evil? How do you feel like the question mark being used in terms of engagement biases your news media's headline on your Facebook post?
Yeah, some of those banners can get pretty silly and get pretty stupid, and I've seen examples of it everywhere. I didn't see what Jon Stewart was doing, but I think I know what he's talking about. And I think in a broad sense, if we could attempt to ask the same sort of questions that we anticipate our viewers are asking, that's fine. But as I say, I'm seeing the same thing. I'm just sort of shaking my head, why do they do that?
Good morning, Kris. Maybe a step back question on the points you've been making about this is all a work in progress. And the question would be, how much thought is being given, say, from the corporation on down, to structuring the learning? is there a governance board or a review panel that somehow is saying, we can't just do this ad hoc, or is your belief that it really is going to involve in a somewhat ad hoc fashion?
There isn't, and I think you could make a pretty good argument that maybe there should be, but as I say, I think we're all still in the mode of trying to apply the sorts of journalistic rules that we have lived by for generations to the social media. I'll tell you, the one rule that I have that I think has served me well, and I hope will continue to serve me well as we broaden Twitter, as we broaden Facebook, Pinterest, whatever, is that I would never, ever tweet or Facebook post anything that I wouldn't say on the air. And from a legal standpoint, that seems to be pretty good advice. In fact, our corporate lawyers in New York have made it clear to all of our journalists, and not just at KNBC 9 News, but at all of our 28 stations, the news divisions in those stations, that we can be just as liable legally for something that we tweet, in addition to something that we broadcast over the air. So from a legal standpoint, there's really no difference between what we put out on Twitter or Facebook and what we put out over the air. So as I say, not tweeting anything that I wouldn't say in the air, I think is, at least for now, pretty good advice.
Okay. I was going to say, I think you just answered a question.
Yeah, that was kind of my question is, what was kind of off limits for you to talk about? And any things that never happened to you? You tweet a lot, so that's what a first level story is.
Well, it's funny you should bring that up because there was a guy on Twitter who just tweeted, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes ago, what a strange morning that he was, in fact, I retweeted it, so follow me, it's on my timeline there somewhere, but that, here it is, a guy whose Twitter handle is supporting time, weird morning so far, just said hello to Jerry Springer at Liberty, Missouri gas station. That's not your everyday tweet, certainly. But as I said, we have to be just as careful on Twitter and Facebook as we would on the air. And as I say, moving forward, that probably doesn't change a whole lot.
I was telling them too, was it Kate Gainer, her Spiro, which she made too on air because what did you tweet to her? Was it weather?
Kate Amara, who was up until a few months ago, who was one of the correspondents in our first Washington bureau, happened to be stuck in Boston. She was trying to get back to D.C. and so she's sitting inside Logan International and not sure why her plane isn't taking off, why she's not on it. And she happens to follow me on Twitter and she happened to see that I had posted a tweet about some bad weather in the Northeast and how backups were building in Logan, and that's how she found out. By somebody tweeting in Kansas City, Missouri, as she's sitting on an airport in Boston trying to get to D.C. and getting no answers from people there. It's an amazing thing, this Twitter thing, I'll tell you.
And what is your Twitter address?
It's just Kris Ketz, that's all it is.
Yeah, 'cause there's only one person.
No.
Okay, but do we have any other questions here? Come on up first.
It looks like the weather's nice there. It's like sunny and it's in the 60s here in the Quad Cities.
Thank you so much for tuning in, but I had a question following up on the fact-checking question. If there is a tweet or a post or something that isn't quite right, has it happened before, and if so, how do you respond transparently?
Correct it as quickly as possible. And in a breaking news situation, when we're on constantly, viewers have the opportunity in situations like that to sort of watch us as we're putting together a story as opposed to that finished product that they might see in 5, 6, 10 or on First News. But they actually, for lack of a better way of putting it, they're watching the sausage being made as it's being made. And sometimes that's not pretty. And sometimes there are pieces of information that get out that when we get better information, we correct it as quickly as possible. And in situations like this is an ongoing story, and the facts as we get them it represent the best information that we know at the time, but that things are subject to change as better information is coming from law enforcement sources or whatever official sources that we're using. And I think viewers get that, but you know, people are a lot more, I think, media savvy than probably some of the industry and others outside give people credit for. I mean, they get it, they know what's going on. They understand the situation and they understand that things can and do change. But you know, it's all about being this is rocket science, but it's all about being as careful as you can possibly be when it comes to, you know, whatever platform that we have to be on all the time.
Oh, you never get wrong information from John from the Sheriff's Department, do you?
Never. Those guys, they're 100% on.
But you always say they can solve anything.
That's right.
Maybe I have a question for Kris.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about social media and, you know, how you decide which to read or anything like that, Kris?
No, I think I've hit some of the high points. As I say, as an industry, we're still trying to get our arms around this thing, and we're going to get better at it. There are instances where news organizations have fallen short because of a random tweet out there that probably wasn't properly vetted. I can think of a recent case, the death of the Penn State football coach, the legendary Joe Paterno. There was what amounted to, I guess, a student-run outlet of information. I don't know if it was a newspaper or publication, but anyway, they had an account on Twitter, and they happened to post something quite prematurely that Joe Paterno had died. And all of a sudden, there were news organizations around the country who happened to be following these guys for whatever reason. They happened to pick it up and then retweet that information, but in fact, it wasn't true. And I know one of the organizations that picked that up early on was CBS Sports, okay? Now, to somebody like me sitting in Kansas City, you would think that a source like CBS Sports might be, from an editorial standpoint, a pretty good one. But in fact, somebody on their social media desk, somebody on their desk happened to pick up that information, retweet it, and then everybody starts, you know, off to the races with it. When in fact, again, Joe Paterno had not passed away yet. And that was one of those things where, as a particular organization, CBS Sports had to backtrack, had to apologize, and had to take another look at what they were doing with social media and how they were doing it. And I think that was, again, a wake-up call for everybody who does this to do the same thing. And on the other hand, you know, that's a mistake that I think we could make the argument that could very well have been made over the year as well. So maybe sometimes social media isn't as different as some of us maybe think it is. But again, it was, I think, a wake-up call for everybody to, you know, and be careful, because at the end of the day, if it's wrong, it's not a good thing.
And here's another question too. I kind of brought up earlier too about how all the stations in town are on Twitter, and and radio can get away with a lot more than you can. And you, like you and Dana, I know you and Dana are respected for it.
Dana Wright, who is on the Scott Parks on News Radio 98.1 KMPC. She used to be the chief investigative reporter at 5, and her career path has mirrored mine somewhat. For years, we worked opposite together as anchors on 5 p.m. newscasts, reporting for our 10 o'clock newscasts. So we spent years together, you know, outside various scenes and various stories. And then when I went to mornings about 4 years ago, about a month and a half later, Channel 5 moved her to mornings. And actually, they moved her off mornings a couple of years ago, and actually their ratings in the morning have not, that turned out to be a horrible move to them. And maybe they may not necessarily admit that, but I think the numbers speak for themselves. And so that thing is not talking, but we've become very good friends. And yeah, she's somebody, you know, I mean, that not just to broaden their brand, but it's another way to connect with people. And I think as an industry, we're all trying to figure out, those of us in television, where our customers are going to be, not just 10 years from now, 5 years from now, it's that. How is it that you are going to want to receive our product? You're going to be watching it on an iPhone, you're going to be watching a television newscast on the iPad, or whatever the next big thing is. And we're all trying to establish and then maintain a presence on all of these various platforms, because it's so important for us to, again, be where you are. But trying to figure out where you're going to be 5 years from now, we're a little bit like throwing darts at the board sometimes, I feel, which for those of us in the industry can be a little bit frustrating, but it is what it is. And again, whether you're in talk radio or whether you're in local television news or even network news, we see the numbers, the millions of people who are on Facebook, the millions of people who are on Twitter, and of course we're going to try to be there, because again, that's where our customers are. And once we lose that connection, we're all out of business.
And I was just thinking with you and David too, I just love reading, because you guys, on Twitter too, you show you can have fun, you're just like us.
Yes.
You tweet
No, absolutely. And I think, for me, I think, and I can't speak for David, but it is a way to, I think, not just connect with our customers and our viewers in a more personal, one-on-one way, but I also think that it is a way for us to become, even a little bit more transparent, to give people an idea of what's going on behind the scenes. And I'll, from time to time in the morning, if I have the opportunity, I'll tweet photographs of what's going on in the studio during our broadcast on First News in the morning. And again, an attempt to give people something that they wouldn't find anywhere else. Is there value in that? We think so. And again, if we can pull the curtain back a little bit about how we work and about the decisions that we make editorially on the air every day, I just think that's a good thing. That's a win-win.
Well, thank you so much for getting up with us on your vacation.
Well, I will. I'm heading back here. We're heading back here soon, and we'll see you guys tonight at the Kansas City Zoo, right?
Oh yeah, tonight's Jazz Zoo. Are you there tonight too?
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there. We'll be back.